Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slavacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. In this week's headlines, following the deadly shooting of lesbian Minneapolis mom Renee Good by an ICE agent, I do want to highlight one small glimmer of goodness. Gay-centered hockey drama Heated Rivalry has inspired longtime hockey player Jesse Kortuem to come out. The Human Rights Campaign released its findings from its annual LGBTQ Community Survey, exploring how Donald Trump's first year back in office has affected them. And DJ Bill Bennett released his new music video, Upside Down World, an emotionally charged anthem of pride inspired by the removal of the Rainbow Memorial crosswalk outside the Pulse Nightclub in Orlando, Florida. All that and more in this episode of The Randy Report. It would be impossible not to mention the hideous recent shooting death of lesbian Minneapolis mom Renee Good. As I'm sure all of you have seen in the news, Good was driving through a Minneapolis neighborhood with her partner after dropping her child off at school when she became swept up in an ICE operation. Trying to turn around to leave the area, she stopped to wave other drivers by. In that time, ICE agents focused on her and ordered her out of her car. In trying to maneuver her car to leave, ICE agent Jonathan Ross appears to have panicked and shot her 4 times, killing her. The Trump administration has worked hard trying to paint her as a domestic terrorist and paid professional agitator who ran the agent down in an effort to kill him. I'll note that there's no evidence to date that Good's intent was anything other than to try and leave the area. I won't break the entire episode down, but I will note one aspect of the event, based on the agent's own phone video. In the clip released by the Department of Homeland Security, we see Ross circle Good's car. As he comes around to the driver's side window, we see Renee Good smile and in a friendly tone of voice say, "It's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." The video continues as he kept circling, coming back around to the front of the car, which Department of Justice guidelines say is not proper protocol. As Good put the car in motion, Ross fires 4 shots at Good, killing her. Seconds later, as he walked away, he can be heard on his own phone saying, "Fucking bitch." I think it's important to contrast his statement with Good's "I'm not mad at you" in the context of understanding who was in what frame of mind at the time of the event. The investigations will continue on, but I do want to share one glimmer of hope and humanity that arose in the aftermath of the shooting. Folks in Good's circle launched a GoFundMe campaign with hopes of raising money to help her family pay funeral costs. But in a matter of hours, the crowdsourcing campaign soared past its original goal of $50,000 and hit $1.5 million. At that point, the organizers, clearly overwhelmed by the outpouring of support, closed the campaign, saying the funds would be placed in a trust for the family, and added, "If you're looking to donate, we encourage you to support others in need. We're truly grateful." I'll note, similar crowdsourcing campaigns were launched in support of Jonathan Ross, which have now exceeded over $1 million. And no, those organizers haven't closed the fundraisers, nor have they suggested donors support others in need. Inspired by the massively popular gay hockey-centered drama series Heated Rivalry, real-life hockey player Jesse Kortuem has come out as gay in an interview with Out Magazine. It's worth noting, folks, that the number of out professional players in the National Hockey League is 0. Kortuem never played in the NHL, but has played in several leagues. Kortuem told Out, quote, "I know many closeted and gay men in the hockey world are being hit hard by Heated Rivalry's success. Never in my life did I think something so positive and loving could come from such a masculine sport. Today, I took the step to finally tell my hockey journey and my story. I'm beyond grateful for all of the positive comments I've received from past teammates and high school teammates." End quote. Kortuem opened up further about his journey in an emotional Facebook post this week, sharing how he struggled to reconcile his sexuality with the sport when he was younger and spent much of his career in the closet. He wrote, "For a long time, the rink did not feel like a place where I could be all of me. I felt I had to hide parts of myself for far too long. Growing up as the youngest of 4 boys in the hockey state of Minnesota, sports and competition were not just what we did, they were who we were. As a young teenager, I carried a weight that did not seem to fit into that world, and I lived in a constant state of dichotomy. I loved the game, but I lived with a persistent fear. I wondered how I could be gay and still play such a tough and masculine sport." End quote. He added, "To my younger self, that identity could never be revealed. I did not think those two worlds could occupy the same person, let alone the same locker room. Coming out in the 2000s did not feel like an option, especially with so little positive representation in the media at the time, and it would have been a social disaster at such a large high school. At 17, I walked away from the high school team and the brotherhood of hockey friendships I developed from a young age for a myriad of reasons." Kortuem says he got back into playing hockey at a high level as an adult, though he still couldn't bring himself to be fully out on his adult hockey teams. He says, "On the inside, I was still that kid in Minnesota hiding. Like many closeted athletes, revealing who I truly was to my team would change everything in an instant, their opinion of me. It could bring negative attention to the team with the gay player. So I never took the chance. I spent every week in a locker room with guys I respected, yet I did not feel safe enough to tell them who I truly was. Even when the conversation turned to wives, families, or dating, I would quickly change the subject." Eventually, Kortuem says he found community in a gay hockey tournament in 2017, describing the experience as life-changing. He now plays for the Cutting Edges Hockey Club in Vancouver, British Columbia, an LGBTQ hockey team. He says, "It's been a long, vulnerable road to move past the closeted athlete persona, something I'm still working on today, and find actual peace through the friendships I've developed through hockey in Vancouver with the Cutting Edges. As for athletes that may still be in the closet, he wants them to know, quote, there is room for all of us on the ice." Heated Rivalry, which has catapulted its stars to fame, has already been renewed for a second season. Earlier this week, the Human Rights Campaign Foundation released findings from its annual LGBTQ Community Survey, which drew responses from nearly 15,000 U.S. adults. Here are some key findings from the report. LGBTQ people are increasingly closeting themselves and reducing their visibility in certain environments. 47% of LGBTQ adults say they are less out, at least in some aspect of their lives, including at work, in healthcare settings, or in public spaces, since Donald Trump took office last year. More than half also report being less visible about their sexual orientation or gender identity, including parents who conceal same-sex relationships from teachers or school administrators. Among LGBTQ workers whose employers scaled back DEI practices, 57% reported experiencing stigma, bias, or discrimination at work. LGBTQ adults are nearly twice as likely as their straight and cisgender counterparts to say their financial situation has worsened over the past 12 months. Lower-income LGBTQ adults are especially vulnerable. Those earning less than $75,000 a year were 5 times more likely than those earning above that threshold to say they were financially insecure. This has impacted their access to health care, as those on Medicare or Medicaid were more than twice as likely to report difficulty accessing HIV prevention or treatment, while more than 40% of those earning under $75,000 a year reported trouble obtaining prevention tools such as PrEP or antiretroviral medications. The report warns that reduced access threatens to worsen the HIV epidemic and could lead to otherwise preventable deaths. Access to healthcare has become especially difficult for the transgender and non-binary Americans. Nearly 2/3 report being unable to obtain needed healthcare due to the Trump administration's efforts to restrict gender-affirming care or prohibit federal funds and employer-based insurance plans from covering such treatments. Some first-year Trump administration policies detailed in the report as negatively impacting LGBTQ people include ending federal recognition of transgender and non-binary people by claiming they don't exist, ordering all government entities, including the U.S. Census Bureau, to stop collecting data on LGBTQ people, rescinding federal non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people through multiple departments, including Health and Human Services, the Justice Department, and the Education Department, banning transgender people from serving in the military, and canceling hundreds of millions of dollars in research grants. In response to the findings, HRC President Kelly Robinson issued a statement that read, in part, "Over the past year, the Trump administration has pushed forward efforts to eliminate civil rights protections for LGBTQ Americans through funding cuts, regulatory changes, and bullying from the bully pulpit. Now, LGBTQ Americans are clearly hurting. We need and deserve leaders that treat everyone with dignity, give everyone the chance to thrive, and advance equality for all." How about some new music? Acclaimed music producer DJ Bill Bennett recently released his new music video, Upside Down World, an emotionally charged anthem of pride inspired by the removal of the Rainbow Memorial Crosswalk outside the Pulse Nightclub in Orlando, Florida. The track's top-shelf production begins with a low, insistent beat that draws the listener in. With a perfectly modulated build, we're soon swept aloft by a choir of soaring voices on the hooky, earworm chorus. The lyrics, while defiant, convey a message of indomitable positivity and strength. The music video serves up powerful storytelling through arresting cinematic imagery as shirtless, DJ Bill Bennett stalks the streets to protest the removal of, quote, colors on the ground. As the video progresses, vivid rainbow colors, rainfall, and more heighten the impact of the bold visuals. Folks, I really like this. While I can't play the video for you here, let's take a listen to DJ Bill Bennett's Upside Down World, now available on all music streaming platforms.
They say the rainbow on the concrete's too much too bad, but the chalk outlines in classrooms, well, we don't care. They'll protect the guilty in their marble halls, while children practice hiding behind school walls. They painted the crosswalk in color so bright, 7 stripes of hope in the Orlando light. But the phone starts buzzing, the anger grows loud. Emergency meetings at City Hall now. While somewhere a mother gets that call. I'm sorry, your child won't be coming home at all. We live in an upside down world where love is the enemy. Rainbow paints a battle cry, but silence means tragedy. We live in an upside down world where priorities have lost their way. Fighting colors on the ground while our children fade away. Love between two people is their greatest fear, but weapons in the streets, well, that's crystal clear. The news crews gather for the great paint debate, till the story's old and They'll spend more money on removing that stripe than they will on keeping our kids alive. But don't you dare say that out loud, 'cause caring about colors makes them proud. The rainbow's just a spectrum of light, and we all bleed red in the fight.
And that brings me to the end of this episode of The Randy Report. If you enjoy catching up on LGBTQ news in a quick podcast, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. I like to think of The Randy Report as the 60 minutes of gay news, only shorter. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.